Evan Carter, a young human explorer, walked carefully through the thick alien jungle of planet Viridian. The air was warm, heavy, and filled with strange glowing dust. Tall blue trees surrounded him like silent giants, and the ground hummed under his boots. His mission was simple: map the forest and find safe paths for future human teams. But nothing on this planet ever felt simple. Everything looked alive, even the shadows. For 3 days, Evan had been working alone. Someone, really alone. Someone, or something, had been following him. He often heard soft footsteps, small giggles, the sound of leaves shaking when there was no wind. At first, Evan thought it was an animal. Then he saw her, a young alien girl with bright silver eyes and soft green skin. Her hair looked like glowing vines, and she moved with the speed of a deer. She never spoke much, but she always appeared when he needed help, like when he slipped near a cliff or when poisonous insects surrounded him. She would scare them away with a single sharp whistle. Her name was Lyra. Evan did not understand her language, but she understood his expressions. She laughed when he was confused, she smiled when he thanked her, and she always kept a careful distance until today. This day felt different from the moment the sun rose. The jungle was quieter, the air warmer. Lyra stayed closer to him than usual, walking only a few steps behind. Evan looked back at her and gave a small smile. "You're in a good mood today," he said. Lyra tilted her head, studying his face. Then she stepped forward, almost too close. Evan froze. She reached up, gently touched his arm, and before he could react, she bit him. "Ow, Lyra. What was that for?" Evan jumped back in shock that it wasn't a strong bite, more like a playful nip. But it surprised him so much he almost fell over. Lyra didn't laugh this time. Instead, she stared at him, eyes wide, breathing sharp as if she had done something terrible. Her hands shook. She touched her lips, then touched his arm again, whispering something in her language. Evan didn't understand a single word. "I'm okay," he said slowly, trying to calm her. "It's fine, just maybe don't bite me again." Lyra stepped back. Her face changed completely. The happy glow in her eyes disappeared. Her expression became tight, almost scared. Then she whispered one word, soft, trembling. "Chosen." Evan blinked. "Chosen? What does that mean?" But Lyra didn't answer. Instead, she turned around and ran fast, vanishing into the thick leaves. Evan tried to follow, but lost her immediately. The jungle swallowed her whole. He stood alone. The place suddenly felt colder, darker. Even the glowing dust turned dim. Evan sighed and rubbed the spot where she bit him. "That girl," he muttered. "So weird, cute, but weird." He had no idea how serious the moment actually was. As he walked forward, he noticed something strange on his skin right where Lyra had bitten him. The mark glowed faintly, like a tiny golden spark under his flesh. Evan frowned and wiped it, thinking it was dust, but the glow didn't go away. What the? Before he could inspect it further, the jungle ground trembled lightly as if something huge moved far away. Birds flew out of trees with sharp cries. A wave of warm wind rushed past him, carrying a soft humming sound, almost like a distant heartbeat. Evan's instincts sharpened. Something was wrong. He looked around cautiously. "Lyra?" he called out. No answer. He took a step forward. The ground trembled again, not like an earthquake, more like a signal. The glowing mark on his arm pulsed once, twice, then settled into a soft, warm light. Evan swallowed. His heart pounded. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt like he had been watched, not by Lyra, but by something older. Something deeper inside the jungle. A voice echoed in his head. "The forest has seen you." Evan shook his head quickly. No one was there. He must be imagining things. The pressure, the heat, maybe dehydration. Yes, that made sense. He forced himself to keep walking, but as he moved, The trees around him bent slightly, as if something passed between them. The vines shook without wind. The ground shimmered with faint energy lines. Everything reacted to the bite. Evan tried to ignore it. But the feeling grew heavier. The jungle was not just alive, it was awake, watching him. Waiting for something, he whispered to himself, "Come on, Evan. Don't panic, you've handled worse." But deep inside, he knew this felt different from any danger he had faced. Before, the bite wasn't a joke. It wasn't a random playful act. It meant something. Something Lyra understood. Something the jungle understood. Something he was completely unprepared for. As the scene ends, Evan touches the glowing mark again, unaware that his fate has already changed. Behind him, hidden in the trees, dozens of silver eyes open, watching him, whispering in an ancient, alien tongue, "The human has been chosen." Evan did not sleep that night. He sat near a small fire he built from dry alien leaves, but the flames felt weaker than usual, as if the jungle itself was stealing their heat. Every sound in the darkness felt sharper. Every shadow felt alive. He kept staring at the glowing mark on his arm, the mark he got from Lyra's playful bite. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. No matter how much he scrubbed it or washed it, the glow stayed. "Why did you bite me?" he whispered into the silent night. Suddenly, he heard branches moving. Multiple footsteps, fast and light. Evan stood up and grabbed his scanner. Before he could react, 3 alien warriors stepped out of the trees. They looked like Lyra, but older, stronger, and far more serious. Their green skin shimmered under the moonlight, and their armor was made of silver bone plates. They held long spear-like weapons that vibrated with energy. Evan raised his hands. "Hey, I'm friendly. I don't want trouble." The tallest warrior walked forward. His name, as Evan learned later, was Raxer. His eyes were cold and sharp. "You carry the mark," Raxer said in broken English. Evan froze. "Mark? You mean the bite?" The warriors exchanged tense looks. Raxer stepped closer, studying Evan's glowing arm with disgust. "That is not a bite," he said. "It is a bonding seal." Evan felt his stomach drop. Bonding? Like, what does that even mean? But Raxer did not answer. Instead, he said something to the other warriors in their language. They all reacted with shock, some anger, some fear. One whispered, "He is unprepared." "He does not." "No." Evan grew frustrated. "Can someone tell me what is going on? Where's Lyra?" Raxer's expression darkened immediately. "You speak her name too easily, human," he growled. "She has done something forbidden." Evan stepped back. "Forbidden? All she did was bite me." Raxer slammed the butt of his spear into the ground. A loud vibration spread through the forest. "You do not understand," he shouted. "Among our people, a bite is not a game. It is not play. It is a sign, a choice." Evan blinked, confused. A choice for what? Raxer stared at him for a long moment. Then he whispered one chilling word, "Bondmate." Evan's heart stopped. Bondmate, as in partner, like marriage? The warriors nodded slowly. Evan almost laughed in disbelief. No. That must be a misunderstanding. She was just messing around." But Raxer shook his head. "Lyra is young, but not foolish. She has marked you. The forest has accepted you. And now—" He paused, voice trembling slightly. "Now you are hunted." Evan's smile faded instantly. Hunted by what? Before anyone could answer, the ground vibrated again, stronger this time. Leaves shook overhead. A deep rumbling echoed through the jungle. The warriors tensed. Raxer shouted a command. "Back! Form circle!" They surrounded Evan protectively, weapons aimed outward. A low growl drifted through the trees. Deep, powerful, ancient. Something big was moving through the darkness, Raxer whispered. "We are too late. The serpent has already sensed the bond." Evan swallowed hard. Serpent? What serpent? But he got no explanation. Instead, a new voice came from behind. Soft. Familiar. Evan. Lyra stepped out of the shadows. Her eyes looked teary, her hands trembling. She avoided Evan's gaze, ashamed and frightened. Raxer growled at her. You should not be here, child. But Lyra ignored him. She walked straight to Evan, her voice breaking. I did not mean to choose you. I only wanted to play. But the forest, it accepted the bite. Evan felt strangely calm and confused at the same time. Lyra, what does this mark really do? She took a shaky breath. It binds our life energy. You are connected to me now. My emotions, my heartbeat, my fear, all flow to you. And your strength flows to me. Evan stared at her in shock. Raxer added sharply, and it also wakes the ancient creature who hunts bonded pairs. The void serpent. The ground trembled again, closer this time. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm, desperation in her voice. We have to run, now before it finds us. Evan took a step back. His mind raced. One playful bite. One moment of surprise. And now he was marked bonded, and hunted by something he had never heard of. The serpent growled again, louder, shaking dust from the trees. Raxer shouted, Move! Protect the bonded pair! The warriors formed a protective shield around Evan and Lyra as they started to run through the glowing jungle. Evan's final thought before the scene ends was simple but terrifying. I thought it was just a joke, but that bite has changed everything. Evan ran through the glowing jungle with Lyra beside him and 3 alien warriors behind them. The ground trembled again, but this time the vibration felt sharper, as if something underground was sniffing the earth. Following them, branches snapped. Leaves shivered. Strange birds fled in every direction. Evan's breathing grew heavy. What is that thing? Why is it coming after us? Lyra didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed forward, full of guilt and fear. She knew more than she wanted to say. The golden mark on Evan's arm pulsed faster with every step. At first, it seemed like a heartbeat. But then it changed, becoming brighter, warmer, spreading tiny glowing lines up his arm. Evan stumbled. Lyra, why is it glowing more? She grabbed his hand. Because the mark is waking. It is reacting to danger. Raxer shouted from behind, Do not stop. If the mark fully awakens, the serpent will find you instantly. Evan's confusion grew. Why does this thing want us? I didn't agree to any bond. Raxer snapped. The serpent does not care for your agreement. It follows the signal of chosen pairs. It has hunted our people for generations. Evan felt cold. So Lyra's bite basically painted a target on my back? Raxer glared. Exactly. The team reached a clearing filled with floating green crystals that hummed softly. Lyra stopped suddenly. This place, she whispered. The crystals can confuse the serpent, at least for a few minutes. Evan leaned against a tree, catching his breath. The golden lines from the mark reached his shoulder now, swirling gently like living tattoos. He felt a strange warmth spreading in his chest, not painful, but not normal either. Lyra, he said quietly, what is happening to me? She walked close and placed her hand over the glowing mark. The moment she touched it, Evan felt a spark-like energy running through his veins. Lyra gasped softly. The bond is stronger than I thought, she whispered. Even stronger than usual. How strong? Evan asked. Lyra hesitated. Strong. Enough that your heartbeat can steady mine. And my fear can become yours. Evan blinked. Wait, am I feeling your fear right now? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, that is why your heart is racing. Evan swallowed. That explained the sudden panic inside him. Some of it was his. But some WASN single quotes T. The ground vibrated again. A low hiss spread through the air. Raxer froze. Everyone stay silent. The forest went completely still. No wind, no birds, no sound. Evan held his breath. Then the clearing darkened as a massive shadow passed over the trees. Long, snake-like, silent, ancient. Evan whispered, "Is that the serpent?" Raxer shook his head. "That is only its echo. The real beast is." Still searching, Evan felt sick. "Only its echo?" Lyra stepped closer to him, eyes soft but terrified. "The mark is calling to it. We must suppress it." Raxer pulled a small metallic stone from his belt. "Human, hold still." Evan tensed. "What is that thing?" "A silencing rune," Raxer explained. "It will hide your energy for a moment." He pressed it against the glowing mark. Instantly, Evan screamed in pain, not because of the stone, but because the mark fought back. Light exploded from his skin, sending Raxer flying backward. Lyra cried out, "No!" It is too late. The mark is fully activated. Evan fell to his knees as glowing lines spread across half his body, chest, shoulder, even part of his neck. He felt a sudden burst of strength in his muscles, like electricity dancing under his skin. What is happening to me?" He gasped. Lyra knelt in front of him. "The bond is joining our energy. You are becoming connected. Deeper than any human has ever been." Evan tried to stand, but the glowing lines pulsed again, and a wave of dizziness washed over him. The forest responded instantly. Every crystal in the clearing glowed, brighter, then dimmed, then glowed again. Reacting to the energy inside him, Raxer spoke with fear he tried to hide. "The serpent will come now. It cannot resist a fully awakened mark." Another deep rumble shook the ground, closer this time. Lyra grabbed Evan's shoulders, her voice almost a whisper. "Evan, when I bit you, I didn't know the bond would accept you. I didn't know the forest would choose you." Evan met. Her eyes confused, angry, scared. "But why me?" Lyra looked away. "Because humans have something rare, strong will, unstable energy. And the bond responds to that." Evan sighed. "So I'm basically a walking energy beacon now." Lyra nodded with guilt. Before they could speak further, a deafening hiss tore through the forest. Leaves exploded into the air. Trees bent as if bowing to something enormous. Raxer shouted, "It has found us. Protect the human." The ground ripped open as a gigantic shadow moved beneath the soil. The crystals shattered, sending green dust spiraling through the sky. Evan stood tall despite the pain. Something inside him, maybe his human stubbornness, refused to fall back. Lyra felt his courage through the bond and gasped, "Your strength. It is flowing into me." The mark flashed bright gold. The serpent roared an ancient, world-shaking sound as it burst toward the clearing. Evan whispered to himself, "If I survive this, I am never letting an alien girl bite me again." The ground split open like a giant cracked egg. Soil flew into the air. Trees toppled. A thick cloud of glowing dust rose as the void serpent emerged from beneath the jungle floor, a creature so massive that its head alone was bigger than a transport shuttle. Evan froze. Its scales were black like space, covered with tiny stars that moved across its skin like a living galaxy. Its eyes glowed violet, deep and ancient, filled with hunger. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm tightly, her hands shaking so much that even he felt the trembling through the bond. Raxer shouted, "Do not look into its eyes. It hunts through fear." But it was too late. The serpent's gaze swept across the clearing and stopped on Evan. A low, thunder-like growl shook the ground beneath them. Evan whispered, It's staring at me." Lyra nodded, voice trembling. "Because the mark inside you is calling its name." Evan wanted to scream. Why would the mark call that? Lyra swallowed hard. Because the serpent was created to destroy bonded pairs. It grows stronger when it hunts them. Raxer stepped between Evan and the creature, raising his spear. "We fight. But human, if you want to live, stay behind us." Evan almost agreed, until the mark pulsed again, sending a burning wave through his arm. The energy spread into his chest, waking something inside him. His muscles tightened. His senses sharpened. He felt Lyra's fear, Raxor's determination, and his own rising anger mixing together. The bond was not just connecting him to Lyra, it was empowering him. The serpent lunged forward, its giant jaws opening wide. The sound alone cracked 2 trees. Raxor and the other warriors moved with blinding speed, leaping aside, striking the serpent's scales with energy spears. Sparks exploded on impact, but the creature didn't even flinch. Evan's eyes widened. "Nothing hurts it," Raxor yelled. "Only bonded energy can harm it. That is why it hunts you." "Oh great," Evan muttered. "So I'm Bahin weapon." Lyra pulled him forward. "Come, I know a path. The serpent cannot enter the sacred ridge." They ran through the forest while the warriors tried to distract the creature. But every second the serpent grew closer, its body weaving through the trees like a giant shadow. Evan could feel it tracking him, not by smell, not by sound, but by the glowing energy of the mark. The creature roared again, a sound so loud Evan felt it in his bones. A shockwave hit the ground. Evan was thrown forward. Lyra tripped beside him. He tried to get up, but the world spun, and the mark pulsed hard, too hard. It felt like fire under his skin. "Lyra," he whispered weakly, "I can't." "Move." She knelt beside him, hands glowing with soft green light. "The serpent is draining your energy. The bond is wide open. You must close it." "How?" Evan asked. "You must push back," she said. "Fight it with your will," Evan groaned. "My will? What does that mean?" "I'm a human, not a power generator." Lyra placed her hands on his chest. "Humans have strong hearts, strong choices. That is why the bond accepted you. Now use that strength." The serpent burst through the trees behind them, sending splinters flying everywhere. Its body coiled around a massive root. It lifted its head high, ready to strike. Raxor yelled, "Move!" But Evan couldn't. The serpent lunged. Lyra screamed and threw herself over him, creating a shield of shimmering green energy around them, but it cracked under the serpent's pressure. Evan felt her fear flooding into him. He felt her heartbeat racing. He felt her life slipping. Something inside him snapped. He grabbed Lyra's arms, his jaw tight. "Lyra, stop being afraid." She looked at him with wide eyes, tears forming. "I can't." "Yes," Evan said, firmly, "because I won't let anything take you." The mark exploded with light. Golden energy shot across Evan's body like lightning. The ground burned under his feet as he stood up, lifting Lyra with him. The serpent reared back, confused by the sudden burst of power. Its violet eyes dimmed for a moment. Raxor shouted in shock, "The bond is reversing. The human is controlling it." Evan didn't understand what was happening. He didn't know how he was doing it. But one thing was clear. The serpent was finally afraid. Lyra stared at Evan, stunned. "Your will. It's overpowering the creature." The golden light pulsed again, stronger. The serpent hissed in anger and confusion, its scales flickering. It backed away slowly, then vanished into the trees, disappearing like smoke. The forest fell silent. Raxor approached cautiously. "Human, you forced the serpent to retreat. No one has ever done that." Evan wiped sweat from his forehead. "I didn't do it alone." He looked at Lyra. She smiled, small, soft, and still trembling. "The bond listened to you," she whispered. Evan took a shaky breath. If the serpent was afraid of him now, what would happen when it came back stronger? The scene ends with Evan looking into the dark forest as golden light fades from his skin. He whispers, "If this is only the beginning, what is coming next?" The jungle was calm again, but the calm did not bring comfort. It felt like the forest was holding its breath. Evan, still shaking from the encounter, leaned against a glowing tree. The golden lines from the mark faded slowly from his skin but didn't disappear completely. They stayed like dim embers, waiting for the next spark. Lyra sat nearby, knees pulled close, her hands trembling slightly. She stole glances at Evan, not out of fear, but guilt. Raxer and the two warriors formed a circle around them, watching the dark forest in every direction. After a long silence, Evan finally spoke. Lyra, I need answers, real ones this time. Lyra looked away. Her voice was small. I didn't mean this. I didn't mean for any of it to happen. That's not an answer, Evan said gently but firmly. Why did you bite me? What does the bond truly do? Why does that monster hunt us? Lyra hesitated, her silver eyes filling with sadness. Raxer sighed heavily. Human, she is young. She did not know the consequences. Lyra shook her head. No. I knew the bite was important. But I thought humans were immune. I thought my bite wouldn't matter to you. Evan frowned. What do you mean? Lyra took a deep breath. In our culture, she said softly, a bite means affection. It means trust. I like you, Evan. I thought you knew. Evan nearly choked. You bit me because you liked me? Lyra covered her face with both hands. I only wanted to be close, playful. Humans do it too. Right? You show affection with touch. I thought a bite would be harmless. Raxer muttered, human cultures are strange, but not that strange. Lyra continued, ignoring him. I didn't know the forest would accept it. I didn't know the bond would form. And I didn't know the serpent would awaken. Evan exhaled slowly. It wasn't anger he felt, it was confusion mixed with something else, something warm, but the danger was real. So because of your affection, Evan said carefully, I'm now the target of a giant cosmic snake? Yes, Lyra whispered. Raxer stepped forward. Human, you should leave this planet immediately. Your people must take you away. The bond may weaken once you are far from her. Lyra stiffened. Her eyes widened with panic. Evan noticed immediately. You don't want me to leave, do you? Lyra shook her head, tears forming. If you leave, the bond will break in a painful way. It could hurt you and me. Evan's seriousness deepened. So staying is dangerous. Leaving is dangerous. Raxer growled. This is why her actions were forbidden. Lyra stood up suddenly. I will fix it. I will help Evan reach the northern ridge. There's a sanctuary, a place where the serpent cannot enter. The warriors gasped. Raxer's voice dropped. Child, that place is sacred. Only bonded pairs may enter. Evan blinked. Wait, so I'm allowed? Raxer glared. You are not allowed, you are required. The bond is strong. If you do not go, the serpent will chase you across the entire planet. Evan rubbed his forehead. So we run from destiny? By going straight into it? Lyra nodded. Yes, Evan sighed. Of course. The journey began. Night fell quickly as they moved. The jungle glowed with bioluminescent plants. The air smelled like honey and smoke. Evan felt something strange as they walked, like a second heartbeat inside him. At first he thought it was fear, but then he realized it was Lyra's heartbeat. He looked at her. I can feel you. Lyra whispered, I know. The bond is merging our senses, so when I'm scared, I feel it, she replied. And when you're scared? You feel it, she finished. Evan swallowed. That's intimate. Lyra's cheeks glowed faint pink, but their moment broke when a loud snapping sound echoed behind them. Raxer raised his weapon. Move, faster. They rushed ahead, climbing a set of natural stone steps covered in moss. Above them, the sky shimmered with two moons crossing paths. Evan felt heat rising from the mark again. Lyra, it's glowing. She quickly grabbed his arm. The serpent is close, too close. The ground shook violently, more intense than before. Raxer shouted, It has found your trail. Run! They ran up the ridge. The serpent's roar shattered branches behind them. Birds exploded into the sky. The creature slithered through the jungle like a black storm. Evan gasped for breath, but didn't stop. He could feel Lyra's fear, mixing with his own, pushing him to move even faster. Finally, they reached the top of the ridge. A large stone arch stood there, ancient, covered in symbols that glowed faint blue. Below it lay a shimmering barrier like a sheet of water suspended in the air. Lyra grabbed Evan's hand tightly. "This is the entrance," she said. "The sanctuary of bonds." Raxer stepped back. "Only bonded pairs may cross. Go, now." The serpent burst from the trees below, roaring, its galaxy skin flickering like a storm of stars. The earth cracked. Trees fell. The monster surged forward. Lyra looked at Evan, her voice shook. "Trust me." Evan nodded. They ran through the glowing arch together. The moment they crossed it, the world shifted, light twisted around them, and everything went silent. Outside, the serpent struck the ridge with unimaginable force. But it could not enter. The world beyond the shimmering barrier felt like stepping into another dimension. When Evan and Lyra crossed the arch, the forest noise faded instantly. The burning smell from the serpent's destruction vanished. Even the heavy fear in the air lightened just a little. The sanctuary was breathtaking. Floating stones drifted like slow-moving planets. Soft blue mist curled around ancient pillars carved with spirals. Small luminous creatures like tiny glowing birds flew in circles above them. The sky here looked different too. Darker yet calm, filled with slowly swirling galaxies, as if the sanctuary existed between worlds, not fully inside Viridia 9. Evan whispered, "This place doesn't feel real." Lyra nodded. "It is real, but not part of normal space. Only bonded pairs can enter. The sanctuary protects them." Before Evan could respond, the ground shuddered. Boom, another hit. The void serpent slammed into the barrier from outside. The shimmering wall rippled like water. "Is it going to break in?" Evan asked. Raxer, who had stopped right at the entrance, shook his head. "No, it cannot enter. The ancient law forbids it." Evan breathed a little easier, until, crack. The barrier flickered. Lyra's eyes widened. "No, it is stronger than before." Raxer shouted urgently, "The serpent feeds on fear. Your bond is unstable. Fix it, or the sanctuary will fall." Lyra turned to Evan, breath shaky. "Come, we must reach the Heartstone." The Heartstone. They moved deeper into the sanctuary, stepping across floating platforms and glowing bridges. The air felt heavy with ancient energy. The Heartstone chamber looked like a giant open dome with a floating crystal at its center. The crystal pulsed like a beating heart, gold, blue, white, shifting through colors in a slow rhythm. Evan stared. "What do we do here?" Lyra took his hands, her palms warm against his. "We must stabilize the bond. We must accept it fully." Evan raised an eyebrow. "Accept it? As in, agree to it?" Lyra lowered her gaze, embarrassed. "Yes, the bond formed because I bit you. But it only becomes stable when both accept the connection. If we do not, the bond screams in fear, and the serpent hears." Evan's heart raced. "So all this danger is happening because the bond thinks we're scared?" Lyra nodded. "When one fears the bond, it breaks balance. The serpent grows stronger from that fear." Evan understood. His fear was feeding the enemy, even without meaning to. He stepped closer. "Okay, tell me what to do." Lyra blushed lightly. "Hold my hands. Look at the Heartstone. And trust me." Her last words carried more weight than she intended. Evan nodded. "I trust you." The crystal brightened. The test of ACC can see. As they stood together, energy surged from the Heartstone. Golden threads of light wrapped around their hands, arms, and chests. Evan felt a sudden wave of emotions. Lyra's emotions, her guilt, her fear, her wish to protect him, her strange affection, her hope he wouldn't hate her. At the same time, Lyra felt Evan's emotions, his confusion, his frustration, his bravery, his instinct to protect her even when he didn't fully understand. Her world both gasped as the bond opened. More deeply, the light brightened until their bodies almost disappeared in the glow. Lyra whispered, "Evan, don't pull away. If you pull back, the bond will shatter." "I won't," Evan said, gripping her hands tighter. "I'm here." But then, the serpent attacked the barrier again. Boom! The sanctuary shook. Boom! Cracks spread across the glowing sky. Lyra panicked. Her fear surged into the bond like sharp ice. Evan felt it instantly. "Lyra, stop," he shouted. "Your fear is making it stronger." "I can't," she cried, tears forming. The heartstone flashed red. The serpent's roar echoed. Boom! Evan's chest burned as the bond overloaded. His knees shook. His breath shortened. If they failed this test, the sanctuary would collapse and the serpent would kill them all. He stepped closer, placing his forehead gently against hers. "Lyra, listen to me." She gasped, surprised. "I'm here," Evan said firmly. "I'm not running. I'm not angry. I'm not scared of you." Her tears slowed. "You didn't know what the bite would do," Evan continued. "You didn't want to hurt me. And I don't want anything to hurt you either." Lyra blinked, stunned. Evan closed his eyes. "I accept our bond." The heartstone erupted with golden light. So bright that the sanctuary sky turned white. The cracks in the barrier began to heal. The echo of the serpent's roar weakened. The world steadied. Lyra squeezed his hands. She whispered, voice shaking but now with joy, "I accept you too." The crystal pulsed once. Boom! A shockwave exploded outward, blasting through the sanctuary and out into the jungle. The serpent's attack was thrown back with tremendous force. Outside, Raxer shielded himself as a wave of light struck the entire forest. The serpent roared in pain for the first time. The ancient creature was hurt. Evan stumbled a little, breathing hard but alive. Lyra caught him, smiling softly. "The bond is complete," she whispered, but Raxer shouted from the entrance with urgency, "Do not celebrate yet. The serpent lives, and now it is furious." Evan stared at the glowing sky outside. The final battle was coming, and the serpent was no longer hunting a frightened pair. It was hunting a bonded force strong enough to threaten its existence. The sanctuary sky flickered gold as the heartstone's shockwave faded. The air grew still again, calm but charged with new tension. Evan stood with Lyra's hands still in his, their bond now stable, warm, and glowing like a soft golden flame inside both of them. But the peace did not last long. A distant roar shook the ground deep. Furious, wounded, the void serpent had not been destroyed, only pushed back. Raxer ran into the chamber, armor cracked from the earlier shockwave. "Human, girl, the serpent is circling the barrier. It seeks another way in. You must face it now." Evan turned sharply. "Face it? How? It's huge." Raxer pointed to the heartstone. "You have something now that no warrior has ever had, a complete bond with a human will." Lyra looked confused. "Human will?" Raxer nodded. "Yes, humans have unpredictable minds, unbroken determination. Your bond is not like ours. It is dangerous, wild, uncontrolled energy." He stared at Evan. "That is why the serpent fears you." Evan felt a strange chill. "The serpent fears me?" Lyra squeezed his hand. "Evan, you made the bond stronger than I imagined. You scare even the forest now." Evan managed a weak smile. "Great. I scare my girlfriend's entire ecosystem. That's comforting." Lyra's face turned bright pink at the word girlfriend, but she didn't deny it. The sanctuary opens as the heartstone released. Another pulse, opening a circular gate in the middle of the chamber. Beyond the gate was the outside world, the jungle, the shattered trees. and the serpent waiting on the other side, its massive form curling like a storm cloud. Lyra shivered. It's waiting for us. It wants to break who we are. Evan stepped forward. His voice was steady. Then we don't let it. Raxer hesitated. Human. The moment you leave the sanctuary, the serpent will attack. No one has ever survived this kind of confrontation. Evan inhaled slowly. I'm not doing this alone. He looked at Lyra. She nodded instantly. No fear this time. Only trust. We fight together, she said softly. The bond glowed between them, a thin line of light connecting their hands. Raxer bowed his head with respect. May the stars protect you, Evan grinned. I'll protect the stars. The final battle began as they stepped out of the sanctuary. The world outside shook violently. The serpent roared with pure rage, its galaxy skin flickering with purple lightning. Its eyes locked onto Evan immediately. This time, Evan didn't back away. Lyra stood beside him, holding his arm. The bond gives you power, but only if you trust yourself. Evan nodded. I trust both of us. The serpent lunged. A shockwave tore the ground as it struck. Evan threw his arm forward, instinctively, as if guided by the bond. A blast of golden energy erupted from his hand. The beam slammed into the serpent's face, blinding it temporarily. The creature screamed, thrashing wildly and knocking down trees like matchsticks. Raxer gasped from behind. Impossible. Humans cannot use bonded energy. Evan looked at his glowing hand. Guess I didn't get the memo. The serpent recovered quickly and struck again, tail whipping through the air like a meteor. Evan grabbed Lyra and rolled aside. The ground where they stood cracked open, glowing with dark fire. Lyra stood quickly, hands glowing green. I'll support you, you strike. Energy flowed between them, warm, bright, building pressure inside Evan's chest. He felt stronger, faster, more aware. He could sense the serpent's movements before they happened. Because Lyra sensed them too. The serpent lunged again. Evan leaped forward, surprising even himself, and punched the creature's scale. The impact released golden sparks. A deep crack formed along the serpent's neck. It roared in fury. Evan yelled, "We can hurt." It's Lyra again. Lyra closed her eyes, channeling energy into him through the bond. I'm with you. The serpent coiled, preparing its deadliest strike. The jungle trembled. The stars above flickered. Evan pulled Lyra close. This ends now. Together, they rushed toward the monster. The strike of two H as the serpent lunged with its jaws wide open. But Evan and Lyra were faster moving with one heartbeat. Evan jumped. Lyra boosted him with a burst of green light. The golden mark on his arm ignited like a sun. He landed on the serpent's head and slammed both hands into its skull. A massive shockwave of combined human and alien energy exploded outward. The serpent shrieked, a sound filled with pain, fear, and something ancient breaking apart. Light engulfed its entire body. Scales shattered. Stars blinked off its skin. Its massive form collapsed, crashing through the forest with a final thunderous roar. And then, silence. Evan fell backward, but Lyra caught him with a soft cushion of energy. The battlefield was quiet. The serpent was gone. The bond still glowed. They had won. The real meaning of the BID. Evan lay on the ground, breathing hard, staring up at the glowing sky. Lyra knelt beside him, her eyes shiny with relief. You did it, she whispered. You survived. Evan smiled weakly. We survived. Raxer approached slowly, awe on his face. Human, your will changed fate today. The serpent is destroyed. The bond lives. And the forest accepts you. Evan sat up. So the bond. What does it really mean now? Lyra looked down shyly, playing with her fingers. It means, she said softly, I didn't just bite you because I liked you. Evan raised an eyebrow. Oh? She took a deep breath. It means my heart chose you. Evan froze for a moment. Then he gently took her hand. Then, I choose you too. Lyra's eyes filled with warmth. The bond pulsed soft golden light. Drifting around them like falling stars, Raxer smiled proudly. The forest has a new legend now. The human who accepted the bite. Evan laughed breathlessly. Yeah, he said, and I'll never forget that the bite was the start of everything. Lyra whispered with a smile, the bite that changed our destiny.